everybody, it's Belle. I'm here and I'm playing Darkest Dungeon. I thought this would be a fun ongoing series. You can see I've played it a little bit already. I'm in week 26. But I'm going to start a new campaign just for recording. And I'm not entirely sure what to call it because, as you see, I've already called one Darkest Fungeon. So how about we're going to make this awful and call it Darkest Pungeon. And you're all in this with me. So this is what we're going to do. So I have played it, so I do know a bit about Darkest Dungeon, obviously going in. And if you don't know what Darkest Dungeon is about, basically your ancestors dug up some stuff you shouldn't have, general...
You will arrive along the old road. It winds with a troubling, serpent-like suggestion through the corrupted countryside, leading only, I fear, to ever more tenebrous places. There is a sickness in the ancient, pitted cobbles of the old road, and on its writhing path, you will face viciousness, violence, and perhaps other damnably transcendent terrors.
You can see where this is going.
So steel yourself, and remember there can be no bravery without madness. The old road will take you to hell, but in that gaping abyss, we will find our redemption.
Okay, so that's setting the scene. There is a preview as the game is starting. It does go over like your ancestor will talk to you, and he'll tell you that he basically got bored with their decadent wealth, spent everything to dig up underneath the mansion, and basically unleashed horrors upon this hamlet and the world. And so now you're coming in trying to figure out the mysteries and combat what is happening. Oops, sorry, I just kind of... A screen popped up explaining what you're supposed to do next, but basically you start off in a room, and to advance you click the next room, and then you'll start traversing the hallway. Here it explains, while in the hallway, press D to move forward, A to move back. If you prefer the mouse, you can click ahead or behind the party to move them. And you can select different party members by clicking on them. So this is the tutorial. So it's going to have some basic enemies. Kill the enemy. Combat is turn-based. On your hero's turn, click a skill icon, then click on a highlighted target. If you can't select a particular skill, it's because that hero needs to be standing in a different spot or there are no valid targets. Mouse over the skill to see the requirements. So, you see, if you mouse over this skill, you'll see the yellow dots on the left and the red dots on the right. The yellow dots determine where your hero or champion or whatever they're called needs to stand in what's usually a 4-person team in order to be able to use that. And then the red dots say where they can hit. So you'll see this, he can stand in first, second, or third position to use open vein, and he'll hit either the first or the second person. This one, you'll see the red are connected because this attack will hit everybody in a row. But we're going to use open vein because there's only one of them. And that guy just resisted bleed because that was a bleed effect that was on our skill. And there's 2 damage over time effects, bleed and blight. And generally you want to have both along. Alright, so interactive objects, curios. While exploring, you'll often find interactive objects. Click or press W to investigate them. Take a look at this tent. Take a look at this tent. Clearly, where the ambushers camp. So we're gonna... So we can drag an item in there to use it on the object, or we can check inside the tent. So we just got some gold from the brigands. We don't have any torches right now, so we can't increase the light.
An ambush. Send these vermin a message. The rightful owner has returned, and their kind is no longer
So here you'll see this
welcome.
guy's taking up 2 spots. So I'm actually going to use grape shot so I can hit all 3 of them at once. Or, well, both of them, but... This is going well. Reynard, why have you betrayed me? Oh dear. So you'll see they switch positions, so this kind of sucks because now he can't use Grape Shot, he can only Open Vein. And Open Vein can't hit this guy in the back because this one takes up 2 positions. That's okay, we'll make him bleed for it. But yeah, Darkest Dungeon is fun. It's I believe it calls itself like a strategy roguelike. To me, it's a mix of like RPG, a roguelike, and tactics, because there's a lot of positioning involved, a lot of just making good decisions, and then there's a lot of luck because it is a roguelike. So you kind of have to keep all that in mind. And you'll actually see, because this is also a Cthulhu type story, instead of sanity meters, we've got a stress meter, which is that thing on the bottom. You'll see he has a bar right now, a bar of stress. So he's got 14 out of 200 stress. Once they hit 100, they'll be tested, and it's a problem, but we'll get there in a minute. Corpses. When most monsters die, they leave corpses. Corpses act as temporary obstacles and will eventually go away on their own. You can attack corpses to destroy them faster, but often a better approach is to use ranged skills, push-pull skills, and even corpse-clearing special skills that some heroes possess. Monsters killed with bleed, blight, or crits leave no corpses at all. So, and then this is a big deal. Like you'll notice here, he can't hit this one. So I'm actually going to work on clearing this corpse, because even enemies have specific skills they can only use when they're in different positions. Uh-oh. So, Dismas is actually at death's door, not Renault, but when a hero is reduced to 0 HP, they are at death's door. While in this state, they will suffer stat penalties, plus any further damage has a chance to kill them, heal them to get off death's door. So I really want to end this quick, because you'll see Dismas has bleed, and it's very easy to accidentally kill somebody if they've got bleed, because you can't really save against it. So quest complete. Completing quest. After you've completed the requirements of a quest, you have the option to return to town at any time. Just click the crest. You don't need to return to the starting room of the dungeon to exit, which is nice, because a lot of the time, we're actually going to continue adventuring here. A lot of the time you don't want to continue. Like right now would be a very good time to leave, because they heal to full and they'll get rid of their bleeds and such. But because we're leaving, I want to open this chest. And chests are usually trapped. Sometimes they're not, or if you have a key, then it's not a big deal. But if you can just click, like if you'll see here, quest complete, you can click that to immediately hop to the hamlet. So if this is a problem, it's not gonna, I can just hop to the hamlet, it's not a big deal. You'll notice I have Renault selected. That means he's the one who opens the chest. I don't want to have Dismas selected, because I don't want him to get any more negative effects, because I don't want him to accidentally die. So I'm gonna have Renault check the chest, and it's trapped. So you'll see he just got blight, which is like bleed, just different. And we're gonna complete the quest, and we're gonna head to the hamlet. So here's the quest rewards screen. You'll get collected treasure, and that'll include anything you didn't use. Like you got, before you embark on a quest, you'll actually buy provisions, and then at the end of the quest, you sell back whatever you didn't use. It's not as much as you bought it for, but basically it's just, you don't keep it. So your collected treasure is based off of whatever you find and whatever you don't use, and then your quest reward is up here. We'll get heirlooms probably next. And then here we have this interesting thing. You'll see happy and frown, and that's because you're gonna get quirks, or I don't remember what they're called, but they're bad. Alright, so he got a quirk. Negative 20% stress damage in Cove, and Cove is one of the places that you can adventure in. So I'm talking a little fast. There's a lot going
Welcome
on
home,
here.
such as it is.
And some of it you have
This
to
squalid hamlet, these corrupted lands,
intuitively
yours now.
figure out.
and you are bound to them.
But the rest of it, like, they're not very clear on how you get rid of things. You just kind of have to read around the screen. But so we just got back to the hamlet. This is our activity log, so this is everything we've done. So we're only on week 1. This is what happened to Dismas and Reynald, and they successfully escorted me to the hamlet. I don't do anything. I'm pretty useless. I'm not even actually in the team. I just kind of stand on the outside and give directions. But you'll see on the right here are our quest goals, and this is the quest goals for the entire game. So you'll see that. Doop. All right. So here we're at the get help where you may. On any screen in the game, press and hold H to see contextual help for controls in that mode. Try it while in town, exploring, fighting, camping, and more. And then here we'll start. You'll see the hamlet still all boarded up, but as we do quests, it'll unlock. So right now all we can do is the Stagecoach to get new heroes, the Ancestors' Memoirs, which will actually just show cutscenes, and then the Graveyard, which is where our heroes will go when they die. At this time, we don't have any dead, which is going to change rapidly. But here you'll see the House of Ruin is the cutscene, like before the game even completes loading, and then the old road is just the thing we saw at the start. And then you'll see here as you kill bosses, you'll start unlocking more. And so then the Stagecoach is where we recruit new heroes. The Stagecoach is your hero lifeblood. You'll need to recruit these 2 heroes to fill out a party of 4. Drag and drop them into your roster. While you're here, spend some of your starting resources on upgrading the Stagecoach network. This will increase the number of heroes available here in the future. To upgrade, click the plus symbol on the left and then click the upgrade. So, and I've heard the best, I'm gonna drop these in here. I've heard the best option is to upgrade your Stagecoach first, so that you can get more heroes, because you tend to lose them a lot. So we just recruited a Vestal and a Plague Doctor, and you can right click on them to see what they do. And the Vestal is your healer, and your Plague Doctor is your plaguey person. And you'll see, like, if you go through, you can see they actually have more things that you can unlock later than they have now. And whenever a hero shows up, the things they start with are kind of random. But you'll see also here preferred position, preferred target. That just tells you what they can hit where they stand. So we generally want Reynald in the front, Dismas second, Percy will be last, and Tayaboy looks like I would pronounce that Tayaboy, will go third, because they can hit everything from here. If I wanted to change their name, I could change their name. I tend to be very sentimental about my heroes, so I don't change their names. You can also switch their outfits by clicking here, but again, sentimental, don't want to. And here you'll see Dismas and Reynald. They have a little bit of stress, but we don't have to worry too much about it right now, because they've only got I think a few each. Yeah. But as we start unlocking places, we'll be able to let them sit for a week, and they will recover stress by doing certain activities that we have to pay for.
And morbidity.
So here you just fill out your roster, and you want to make sure you put them in the best places for them. And I'm mostly concerned with the healers where they're standing so that they can heal. But that looks good. The only thing they can't do is called Hand of Light. And that's actually an attack. So I'm not really worried about them being able to attack right now. But the order will go, the person on the rightmost, just like when you're fighting, the person on the rightmost is there when you're fighting. This is how they'll stand. So you want to make sure that they're in the right positions. And then up here, eventually we'll get, you'll see these places are locked. But eventually you can pick different places to go. But right now we can only go to the ruins. So these are the rewards we get. And now we go to the provision page. And provision for the journey. You'll want to take different supplies depending on what region you're going to, how long the quest is, and your own preferences. But always bring some food and torches. For your first short quest, try bringing at least 8 food and 4 torches. So, I was actually, before I even played this, I watched a, oops, and then you can click here if you accidentally buy too many. I watched a friend play, and they actually showed me how to do it, and that's actually why I'm talking a lot about this, is that it's not something that's really easy to pick up right away. At least not in my opinion. It's not super easy. I think that's part of the difficulty setting on it, is just that they don't have a super in-depth tutorial. They give you the very basics of what you need to click and what you need to do, and then they kind of set you into the wild. But generally I bring 8 food, I bring a shovel, and I bring 8 torches. Because the dimmer your light is, the more stress that your characters are under. Unless they have certain quirks, but right now I don't believe I have anybody with those quirks. So yeah, right now, so you'll have good quirks and bad quirks. But right now, Dark Temptation. Oh, and they'll have things that make them touch stuff without you wanting them to touch stuff. Because there's a lot of things you'll find that you don't want them to touch, and they'll do it anyway. But and also I generally bring a shovel because there's a high chance of at least one of the hallways being blocked, and if they have to dig by hand, it causes a lot of stress. And yeah, I don't want to deal with the stress, and neither do they. I feel like I'm talking a ton. I guess that's why people, watch other people play though. So right-click on a hero's image or portrait at any time to bring up a detailed panel showing all of the hero's quirks, skills, and resistances, which we did. So now you'll see we're in this room. To advance, we have to click another room. And so as we're going through this room, you'll find things to inspect. And I'm actually, I was trying to watch the floor to see that, but I couldn't see it. So, yeah. So now we're in another room. Usually rooms have something happen in them. This one did not. Again, roguelike, can't tell you what's going to happen next. But I try to keep the torch above 75. Oop. Still couldn't see it. I tried to keep the torch above 75 because it keeps their stress down. Generally don't want to read books. They're often very bad. And that's a confession booth. Again, I mean, they can be good or bad. I tend to be less adventurous with these things. Can somebody please go into the booth? I guess there we go. A forsaken confession booth that hasn't been used in years. So this is probably going to be bad. Oh, the booth contains hidden treasure. Being adventurous can get you a lot of wealth, but you'll see, like right there, I only got 25 wealth, as opposed to, how much I would have to pay if they got like a bad quirk to get rid of it. Right here, I am trying to, kill things. These guys don't bleed, skeletons. Skeletons can't bleed, oddly enough. So I'm not going to bother with bleeding stuff on them. Judgment is a nice attacking ability because it will heal the Vestal,
Surges as the enemy crumbles.
but just the Vestal. And then they'll lose stress when they get crit, when they get a crit, which is nice. But it becomes very basic. You eventually learn things like which enemies can be a problem for stress or damage. Generally the ones in the back are a pain because they generally do something stressful. So
Slow death, unforeseen, unforgiving.
again, so I'm gonna heal, but the Plague Doctor does plague type stuff, plague and bleed type stuff. They can also, depending on what skills they have, can heal plague. I don't have a key, so I'm not going to open that because it's likely trapped. But as you go on, you'll kind of... jeez.
Ambushed by foul invention.
As you go along, you'll kind of figure out what you should and shouldn't touch. But we're on a quest. Quest objectives are up here. Complete 100% of room battles. So that's why I just keep going. Sometimes it's explore 90% of the place. Sometimes it's kill a specific person within there, usually a boss. But right now we're just doing battles. Just doing battles. Whew. But that, this whole, like, positioning and what moves you use and how they synergize, is very, to me, very reminiscent of, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance is what I was trying to say. Which is actually one of my favorite games of all time. Like, of all time. Especially since you'll get heroes and they have specific skill sets. It's much more restricted in what these heroes can do with the skills. Like, because in Tactics Advance you could retrain them and give them different jobs. In this, they are the job that they are. So the Crusader will always be a Crusader. The Highwayman will always be the Highwayman. I'm gonna blinding gas. Oh, can't. Battlefield medicine, cure blight bleed. This one can't bleed, but I'll hit him for that much. And then there we go. But yeah, so this kind of how you have to choose who does what and who you take and why does very much remind me of Tactics Advance. Although they don't have the rules judge screwing you over.
A singular strike.
Which is nice, because that was an annoying part of Tactics Advance. But also part of the tactics, so I guess, you know, whatever. But as you go through, you'll lose characters, you'll have to retrain a bunch of them. It's kind of a, I don't know, I haven't gotten to the end of it yet. You know? Okay, so here's one of the blockages, which is why I have a shovel, because it's very stressful for them if they have to dig with their hands, you know. It's kind of not something they wanted to do. Scouting is a randomly occurring thing that happens when you get to a cleared room, and it'll tell you, you know, in order what's going to happen as you go through, which is super nice. I'm not gonna lie, because that's generally the only way I know when a trap is coming. I am just very bad at noticing traps. But oh, And see, things like that can happen that rearrange your party. And now he's kind of useless a bit because he doesn't have a lot of skills that can be used back there. I don't know if he has any skills that can be used back there. So what you'll actually want to do come his turn is just switch him up if we ever get to his turn. But you can use a turn to attack, or you can use a turn to move somebody, and we're gonna actually we're actually going to rearrange now that that's done. Light's fine. I'm gonna pick the person with the less stress to go digging through stuff, because if shit happens, you really don't want
the light, the promise of
oh,
safety.
see, and now they got a disease, which is great. The creeping cough. Let's see what that does. Negative 20% damage. So you see, and now I'm gonna have to pay a lot to get rid of that. So it's generally, unfortunately, it's usually not worth it to touch most things. Packs are generally okay. They're generally either have loot or are empty. Let's see what we got. Okay, so, or let's see what this is. A small holy altar out of place against the backdrop of corruption. Alright. So they got a buff from that, and now we're going to get into combat. But yeah, sadly, it's usually like not worth it to get the debuff, which is a sad part. Because I like touching things, but I don't like having to pay for the consequences of touching things if the good sides aren't equally,
A powerful blow.
you know, aren't equally tempting. You know, it's usually just money, or it might accidentally replace a quirk you didn't want it to, or it might give you a new negative quirk, or it's so it's kind of a crapshoot, but it's like a crappy crapshoot. Like you're really gambling on a lot of these. And I guess that's the point of gambling, but it's not great for the longevity of your team, I'll say. And you do lose a lot of people in this game. Because I had somebody help me out when I was first starting, I've lost less than most people. But it has not been easy. And right now it is super stressed. Well, he's getting super stressed right now. And wow, everyone is very stressed. So I'm actually going to, let's see, heal the party a bit. And cure his bleed. Because I think he came into, oof. He's not doing well. But this is the last fight, so it's okay. I think. I think this is the last fight. But he's very stressed, so I'm actually gonna Plague Grenade the back, and the one I wanted to get Blight dodged it, so that's unhelpful.
How quickly the tide turns.
Dismas is at Death's Door, which is, he might die here. No. Okay, so when they're at Death's Door, they actually have, you'll see, death blow resistance, which means when they're sitting at Death's Door, they're not necessarily dead, they're out of HP. And then the death blow resistance means every time they're hit, it's like D&D, they have to do basically a saving throw. So right now, he is in bad shape. I really want to get rid of that dude. But as long as I heal him this turn, He gets off death's door, and he dodged, so he's not back on death's door, which is nice. You know? I'd like to keep Dismas. I'd also like to keep Renaud. And he is now at death's door.
Terrible vistas of emptiness reveal themselves.
This would be an interesting way to start off recording if I have somebody go crazy from stress right away. Trying to get rid of those. But hopefully nobody's gonna die. We'll see. See what happens. You got crit. Wow. This is a lot of stress.
Slowly, gently.
A lot of stress.
This is how a life
But I think
is
we'll be
taken.
okay. We'll be okay. There we go. We're fine. We're fine. See? We're fine. And the quest is done, so we can go back to the hamlet before anybody dies or anybody stresses too much.
Warlords return to rest.
So here we go.
Devils remanded to their abyss.
Alright, so we got a lot of treasure. We never had to eat. So that's all that back. And we collected a bunch of heirlooms, which is what we use to upgrade different places that we visit. And let's see. So Renaud got nervous and damage and wield. Taya Boy got guilty conscience, bears the crushing guilt of deeds real and imagined, which I believe means that they're going to touch every confession booth we come along. And then Percy got fast healer, plus 10% heal skills while camping. And camping is when you go on longer quests.
The poor caretaker.
Severe negative quirks. Over time,
Iberia's
some negative
long-standing
quirks will
duties
lock into
here
place
have
and become severe.
affected
Severe
him.
negative quirks cost much more to remove in the sanitarium. So the tavern is now unlocked and the abbey is now unlocked. And these are important because they reduce
The cobwebs
stress.
have been dusted. The
Heroes
pews
relieve
set
stress by taking
straight.
part in activities at the tavern and
abbey
abbey.
calls
Each
to the
activity has
faithful.
different side effects. Experiment to find the best activity for each hero depending on their quirk. Committing a hero to an activity locks them in that activity until the next week. A week is what passes while you're doing a quest. You'll have to take a different hero with you on your next quest. So you'll see here, Renaud is quickly going to have a problem because he's got too much stress. And you'll also see here he's God-fearing, so in town will only pray for stress relief. Now, the caretaker always takes up one of the 6 stress relief activities you have. Luckily, he's not in the pray one, so I'm going to use 1250 to work on Renaud's stress. And I'm going to also put Dismas into the cloister. I don't want to spend too much more money
Fresh kegs,
on these
cards,
guys
and
because they're only at
curtained rooms
about 30 and
promise
40
solace
each.
to the weary and broken alike.
Might be a bad decision, but I also don't want to spend the money. So, also, I think maybe it was Dismas who can't gamble. But you'll see here you can improve stress relief through the whatever heirlooms that you gather. I'm going to improve the bar,
Strong drink, a game of chance.
and I'm actually
and
also going to
companionship.
improve praying
rush of
because somebody can only pray. Alright. And so we're going to go to the Stagecoach and we're going to get some more friends. More friends. Unfortunately, I'm gonna
This
have
man
to take
understands that adversity and
probably
existence
Percy
are one and the same.
with me next time. We'll see. Battle ballad. Because, yeah, I only have 3 that don't have enough stress. And I don't have an occultist to give that to. But I think we'll stop it here. That was probably a pretty long one since it was introductory and I talked about how everything works for a little while. It's basically a tutorial-ish. But yeah, so that's Darkest Dungeon. Or the Dorkest Pungeon. So I'm gonna keep doing these probably for a while. I'm gonna see if I can beat it. And I'll keep to this one specifically for recording, and then the other one I'll just mess around with on my own time, which is, you know, negligible. But I hope you really liked this, or liked it even a little, because I really enjoy Darkest Dungeon. It's a lot of fun. And so you should check them out. I think they're coming off of early access very soon. And so I'm playing this right before New Year's Eve. So they'll be coming out, I think in January or February of 2016, as the full finished game. So yeah, so check it out. It's on Steam, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time with less talking about telling you how to do things. Maybe. Probably not. Anyway, bye!